Good evening, everyone. Good evening. NHPUK TV here, and my name's John Lawrence. I just wanted to go through a couple of things I've seen in the news past couple of weeks. I mean, I'm going to start off with Leggate with Angela Rayner and this Leggate thing, and then everyone's talking about misogyny, which is a real word, comes from the Greek times, and you know, and about women, but nothing is said about Sarah Hussein, who got burnt to death outside her house in Bury. They still haven't released whether she did it herself or someone else did it. But initially, and I assured you the articles where it said a murder investigation is underway. 3 men were arrested for 48 hours, then were let off. But we still don't know nothing, and nobody said anything. No MP talks about it. No police have said anything that I'm aware of, or nothing. So Angela Rayner's all over the news because of Leggate. Yeah, there's nothing about Sarah Hussein. Now, I don't understand if people don't understand why I am infuriated. Why that I scream so loud. Because we live in the United Kingdom where everyone's supposed to have rights and stuff like that. Women are allowed to work. Women are allowed to buy what they want. Women are allowed to do what they want. Women are allowed to bring families up. You know, all this, but nothing gets said when it's a member of a minority community. Now, that's not. It doesn't sit right with me, and it shouldn't sit right with anyone else in the world. That is how plain it is in black and white that people won't say anything because obviously people are a different ethnicity or culture or anything. I just find it abhorrent, me, that it happens. I mean, I'm no fan of Islam, but I just find it abhorrent that it's so obvious that women in Islam don't have rights. And when stuff happens to them, no white people say anything, except for those that they brand with politically correct words, such as me. No one says anything. Now, not just that, there was another murder. Charissa Brown, 36. Again, I went down to Bury, reported on this, and then went to see my mate Mank Dave after, who lives in the area, trying to get a bit more information. I do know someone in Oldham who knows a mum, but there's been nothing. There's been nothing, and she's been raped and killed. Now, she'd been involved in something herself, a manslaughter charge, where she pushed somebody. 2 people were drunk, a bloke and a woman. She pushed a bloke and he landed under a tram and died. And she got 5 years. And some of the comments, people were saying, well, you get what you give and stuff like that. So even though she committed a crime, when she gets murdered and raped, these people are like putting her down. I just don't get what kind of sick, deluded world where anyone thinks that is right that we live in. And if you've got them kind of eye for an eye, no matter who it is, I mean, we have laws in this country, and the law is you can't murder anyone. You can't murder paedophiles. If you do, you're going to get a conviction. You can't beat people up and expect not to be convicted. You can't rob anything without expecting a charge if you get caught or whatever. I know people get off with it. Well, this is a world we live in, and anyone who touts for murder on anybody except for except for the worst of the worst, because I'm on the borderline with that. I've told you before. I'm on the borderline with capital punishment, although I'm not a big believer in it. I'm on the borderline. I've had this out with Paul Golding. I've had this out with my friends and everything. I've had it out with other people, but I'm just not okay with killing people. I'm really not. I just don't get it, me. But I mean, I'm not blaming everyone. We've been indoctrinated to be enemies with everybody. We've been indoctrinated to grass on our friends instead of sorting the scene out ourselves. We've been indoctrinated into all this, and this is how people turn out. So we're going on about Leggate, but there's nothing said about Charissa Brown or Sarah Hussein. So I'm going to shout even louder. Just thought I'd get them two little niggled. Been niggling me that for a while. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Steve, James, Mr. S. Yes, man. Good evening, sir. Peter Smith, good evening. Tinky, I hope you're all right, darling. When are you due, by the way? John Rankin, yes, sir. Oh, thank you, Tinky. No, they don't. Two wrongs don't make a right. I know they don't. Thank you, Dave. Anyway, you've been, Dave 101, you've been one of my loyalist guys on my streams, for more than a couple of years. Anyway, I don't know if you've got my number. If you haven't, ring me up. Give me a text. Or message me somehow, and we'll have a chat. Exactly, Peter. Exactly. And yes, Arlene, good evening. Exactly, Peter. And with the death penalty, how far do we go? Does that mean we start chopping people's hands off or stuff like that? We're just going to be as barricade. I'm just on borderline with it. But anyway, so that's that. So there is no women's rights in the UK. If no one talks about Sarah Hussein and no one talks about Charissa Brown, but we have to talk about Angela Rayner's legs. And I will make a speech about this eventually. And when if I become prominent or get anywhere, I will read that speech out and call everyone out for it. So something else I've seen as well. Manchester United security guard has been fired after he was caught watching TV in a director's box at Old Trafford. Teo Otokiti was also found having an unauthorised nap in a control room while he was supposed to be patrolling the stadium. Dad of three fell asleep on duty just days after a cleaner found him relaxing inside the executive box, a restricted area in the East Stand known as Tower of Power due to its VIP guests. Nigerian-born Mr. Otokiti was in his 40s, had been moved to work at Old Trafford following a bus stop over him watching TV in the coach's office at the club Carrington's training ground. So, he's already been caught lapping, been moved, he's kept in the job, been moved. Now, unfortunately, it depends how new he is, but, you wouldn't normally get that. You do sometimes get chances like that, but, not all the times to get them kind of chances. You don't. Anyone who's worked in a company will know. You're supposed to have 2 written warnings and a written, 2 verbal warnings and a written. But he was done for gross misconduct, which means, I think, that you go straight to written warning and sacked or straight to being sacked. And you know what he's done, ladies and gentlemen? He claimed racial discrimination and unfair dismissal. So he's already been caught once napping somewhere and taking Mickey. Then he's been moved and he's done it again. Then he's claimed racial discrimination. But going down further into it, but at an industrial tribunal in Manchester, a judge rejected his claims after it emerged a white member of staff had also been fired for sleeping whilst on duty. So, to me, does that mean that because a white person had been found sleeping, that, you know, nothing can happen to him? Does it mean that if that white guy wasn't found, does it mean that he would have won his tribunal? Honestly, if someone else hadn't been sacked for sleeping, if they'd never had any evidence of that in a short time, then I would expect that the judge would be like, oh, Black Lives Matter, and then let him win the case. But only because someone else had been sacked and they obviously had proof of it, and you know, they sacked him because he weren't doing his job. Doesn't matter what colour they are or ethnicity. This company sacked these two people, a white guy and a black guy, because they weren't doing the job. You know what I mean? And let's talk about security. He's going in the VIP area. What else could he have done in that VIP area? Is it that easy to get in? And it's supposed to be a security guard, but what if that was Salman Abedi? What if it was Salman Abedi who worked as a security guard and got in them VIP quarters? What would he have done? Honestly, because if Salman Abedi was a security guard, he'd have done something like this. He wouldn't have blown up anyone at the kids in MEN. He'd have just blown up like half a dozen or a dozen famous people watching football. You know what I mean? Honestly. And that's it. So he lost his case. I don't know if he has to pay any money because he lost his unfair dismissal. And that's it. Well, under NHPUK, I would have charged him 12 months contempt of court minimum for even claiming racial discrimination when someone else had been sacked, you know. Yeah, and imagine how many of them kind of cases there is in the UK. It's unbelievable. And I mean, if black people think that I'm wrong in pointing it out, please contact me. john.lawrence at nationalhousingparty.uk. You'd be even able to find my phone number if you looked a little bit. I'm not going to tell you, but you'd even be able to find my phone number. But honestly, I want somebody to question me on this to say that he should have been charged with 12 months minimum wasting police time and stuff like that. But it's easy. It's easy for these people who don't have any loyalty to the United Kingdom to say these things. Now, I'm not tarring everyone with same brush. I know black people who wouldn't have said that. They wouldn't have claimed racial discrimination. But a lot of the immigrants we have now, they know it's easy to say these things and to do these things to get away with ripping us off. You know what I mean? Honestly, just... But yeah, he would have got 12 months contempt of court minimum. If someone would have said that he should have got 2 years, I'd have gladly ticked that box. I would have gladly ticked that box. Yes, Betty Swallocks. Yeah, I'll give a big shout out to Active, Yorkshire Rose, English Bulldog, Colin, James Goddard. I don't think I've missed anyone else. I have missed someone, but they don't want the name out, but I have missed someone. But yeah, they went up to York today because there was a protest against bringing 1,500, over 1,000 people into a small village. And but then I seen I have to get it up. I'll try and find it. Just give me a sec. My mum's got a radio on. Tell me, can you? Have you seen her? I forget who it's by. Twilight or something like that. Shy Lights. The Shy Lights. So yeah, let's get into it now. So yeah, someone on Twitter, Darshina Sunny, a number of right-wing activists, including James Goddard, have turned up to the Linton on House protest. Some villagers tell me they don't want them. How do I expand that? They don't want them hijacking the protest. Now, I'm only going to go out on a limb here now, and I will contact Amanda Yorkshire Rose to check on this. But these people seem like the kind of people that it was all right with. You know, they wouldn't have gone against immigration only until the people come to their village. Now they're protesting. I don't have any sympathy for them, to tell you the truth. The thing is, everybody in the country, including the ones who live in isolated places, should be worried about the amount of people coming into the country. Because this is just the kind of thing that they're doing. Now, all these little villages are going to start having hostels and hotels built and stuff like that, and the hotels, and there'll be these people will be coming in. If you live in the countryside, you don't live in Oldham. You don't live in Oldham, a big, supposedly multicultural area that's just an horrible pot of this and that and the other. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that these are the kind of people who was pro EU, never went against immigration, but now they're in their village. That they're thinking, shouldn't be like that. If I was the same person and I lived there, I would have the same kind of things now because I know that it's not just my town that's going to be affected. It's everywhere in the country, and then that's going to affect a lot of other things such as crime, everything, all stages of crime, sex offences, violent offences, all these things have shut up. Believe me, look at what the police say. All these things are shut up. No one says anything, and we can contest a lot of it to immigration. Again, from cultures and people who do not hold any kind of loyalty to Great Britain. And they're just all flooding in. They're clever, these people. Don't think that they're idiots. They're clever. They know how to play the game. They know how to use a race card, as you can see with that security guard. You know what I mean? They know all these things. And unfortunately, it doesn't just affect white people. It's going to affect every damn person of every colour ethnicity who does hold the values and loyalty to Great Britain. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention them couple of things. But well done to them going up today. Great stuff that. I'd have gone myself, but I took a visit to Rochdale today to visit my good friend Billy Howarth from PAG UK. I totally fully support PAG UK. And I was down there asking a couple of people who I know to run as councillors and get involved in local politics, but also to catch up on what's coming up. So there was 8 men charged with 82 offences in connection with Rochdale child sexual exploitation probe. Now, just let me tell everyone, right? This is historic and it comes from 2002 and 2006, right? And we've already had the 3 girls scandal. And I can tell you, absolutely 1,000,000,000% reliable. That's why I talked to Billy and all stuff, that these men and the men to do with the 3 girls, they're all part of the same big group. They're not separate groups doing it. They're all part of the same group. So obviously, these men have only just been caught now while the others are in court. It's just a joke. You just couldn't make it up. Billy has been well aware of what's going on. And then if you watch PAG UK, you can look back to when this article's from 16th of March, and you'll see Billy do a video saying, at last, because he knew what was coming. He'd mentioned this to me last year. But obviously, as an active investigation, we can't say anything or anything like that. He did mention this to me last year, that this was going to happen. Didn't name any names, but he said they're all involved and it's linked to going back to nearly year 2000. And this is in Rochdale, just a few miles away from Oldham. And not just me, I've told you this, many other people have said it. We know that Rochdale is intimately linked with Oldham through child sexual exploitation. The last gang to do with the 3 girls scandal, Big Daddy, got payments off Oldham Council for doing work. And I heard it got suggested to me that it was to do with child services. But, you know, I haven't got confirmed things about that. There's nothing ever come out of the police or anything. I've walked around Oldham. I've showed you all the shady shops and all these shifty bars. There's lots of evidence from media investigators to say that this was going on. That's why they came to Oldham to investigate it. And it's just all been shunned up. So, and I've said this from the start, from before the 3 girls come out, that child sexual exploitation, Rochdale and Oldham and other places around Manchester are intimately linked, really intimately linked. And today with Billy, we talked about how it's linked from Hull to Cumbria to Manchester. And, you know, like when we're saying about these girls being trafficked, they didn't just get trafficked to a town 5 miles away. They were took halfway across the country. They were took from the northeast to Manchester. They were took from Manchester to Birmingham. Further. That's half these girls ended around London area, all over the country. They got shipped to. But you won't hear this. This doesn't come off mainstream media or anything. You'll only hear political correct word people saying it. That's all. Me, Anne-Marie Waters, Tommy Robinson, anyone who's prominent in the who knows about Muslim rape gangs will tell you all this. But it's in lots of books and documentation and stuff like that. Horace from PA has showed evidence on his Beyond Easy Meat videos. It's written down in books and everything, but you won't hear it off the mainstream media, and it's just unbelievable. And one of the things that me and Pat decided when we formed the NHP UK is that we're not gonna back away from reporting and doing stuff on these kind of crimes. We're not going to. And anyone who knows me well is that I'll mainly blame white people, which is the leaders of the council 20 years ago. The council members who knew what was going on, didn't say anything because they thought it might be considered, they might get called political correct words, who didn't say anything because they wanted to keep the support of them minority communities. The police as well, 20 years ago, were predominantly white. And the same goes for them. They didn't report it because of fear of being called politically correct words. And then we got all these hate speech things coming in. So don't think that like people with colour have the most of the I say most too. I say about them, but many of you will know who I blame. And I blame the authorities, our counsellors. It starts with them. Don't ever think it starts with a paedophile. It doesn't. It starts with the people who are covering up for them. This happened in the football industry. Barry Bennell, senior Football Association members, covered it up. Then he went on to abuse more kids. Yeah, do you get me? Do people understand that? And we're never gonna let it drop. We're never gonna let it rest. I won't let it rest. It's it's a big thing with me. It's a big thing with me, that child sexual exploitation, and I'm never gonna rest. I'm never gonna rest until we get some kind of order in our country over child sexual exploitation. And what it overall tells me is that every shape and any position, class are paedophiles, right? From members of parliament, church people, football coaches, all these kind of people who are supposed to be role models and look after our communities are all pedos, honestly. And I used to be like, it's only a few, but honestly, if you in another meeting or another video, you might have said to me, so how many do you think are paedophiles? And I would have said nearly all of them. That's what I would have said, because it goes across all classes and all the years going back, donkey's years. You know what I mean? And nothing's ever done. Nothing's ever said. They said they're going to learn things, and they have 50 years to learn about rape gangs. And what they keep saying the same thing. Well, we didn't understand, or I'm not having these kind of excuses. We want accountability. We want accountability. That's what we want. They are, Pablo. They certainly are. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't know what's going on. I just want to tell you that it was Blackpool, and it was a paedophile hunter groups, a couple of them. And I met these people since. I've met them at Blackpool and Stoke, and they've heard of me, they've heard me talk. And it was them at the Blackpool Sandcastle identifying. I've said this many times because I've watched the videos and I've seen the evidence on my previous Facebook. It was there. Nearly half a dozen convicted sex offenders going into the Sandcastle at Blackpool. And that were it. I was so infuriated. I ended up going to Stoke. We've done Blackpool a couple of times. Loads of different patriots from all over country. We've done Blackpool. Joseph and Bobby Blurgo, they've come there regular to get these things stopped. You know what I mean? Now, when you don't know these things until you come up to them and you see them. At Stoke, I managed to get in a local Stoke rag, and at the time we were on Britain First. And I'll tell you what I did on. This is what I did on the day. Travelled to Worcester, come back, went to Stoke, and went to that demo at night time. I met a lovely patriot, Angie, who ended up giving me a lift back to the train station and not leaving me because it's a couple of miles to the train station. I didn't know where I made my way there on my own. So that's my day, and I had my Britain First rosette on. And at the time, I was proud on it there. And I was in Stoke News, and it didn't even mention Britain First, but I was in Stoke News. But yeah, so yeah, we're always gonna tackle child sexual exploitation. It's not something we're gonna shy away from or anything like that. There is actually a court case coming up on 25th in Manchester to do with them 8 guys. And I think I'll be going down, getting a bit of info. As far as I know, Billy, PAG UK is going down. So I'll have a chat with Billy. He can tell us a bit, as much as we can, about the case. But if you want to watch out for the PAG UK feeds, I'm sure more stuff Billy will be coming out with when these guys have finished. And again, Billy has known, he told me over a year ago about this coming up. Didn't give me any names, but told me that men are going to get arrested, and they're not all black men. One of this group is white, and I think he's from Blackpool. Yep, Dinmore Avenue, Blackpool. So while I was with him today, Billy, we did talk a little bit about Blackpool, because I believe, this is what I personally believe, is the things and stuff I know, is that they've covered up a lot more than what's come out of Blackpool to do with child sexual exploitation. Charlene Downs is nothing. At the time when Charlene Downs' case was up, they said there was about 50 other kids involved. That number's doubled, more than doubled. Since then, I know that people have been arrested for other different kinds of child sexual exploitation cases across Blackpool. I kept in contact for a couple of years with a really good guy called Richard, who pushed on all this, and he gave me a lot of information. And a lot of the stuff I say about Charlene and the story around it has come from Richard, who's intimately knows the family and knows about cases. But Richard is an unsung hero, but he's brought cases to the police, and they've been dealt with, and people have been convicted. And this is just a guy called Richard. He's not left or right or anything like that. He doesn't come out on demos, and he just wants to do the right thing. And again, I know Richard for over 2 years. Talked to him, met him a few times, talked to him many times on the phone, and that guy's personally been involved. Because of him, people have been convicted for child sexual exploitation. So he's an unsung hero. He knows who he is. But he's an unsung hero, and I've talked about him before. So yeah, again, good evening. We're on 4:30. You're on the National Housing Party UK TV stream, and my name's John Lawrence, and I'm the leader of the party. Thank you very much. Coming up now, I've got a year to my election, so I'm going to need help. I'll need financial help. But I need people as well to come up, deliver leaflets and stuff like that. Let me know. I'm available every single Friday. I have a full day off Friday, and I'm going to try and make it Fridays and Saturdays for the foreseeable future. So if you want to help me out, get in contact with me. We can start people. We can get knocking right now and going round. I've still got some leaflets left, and it'll be a clipboard, and you'll go knocking and talking to people at the door or delivering leaflets. I'll do the talking if you want, but you'll find it in the area where I'm running. You'll find a lot of people on your level. The working class people just like me, so they understand a lot. But yeah, so if you want to get involved, please contact me, john.lawrence at nationalhousingparty.uk, email. My number, 07, I forgot it now. I don't believe it. 075 44 00 2164 as well. Give me a call or a text. Like I said, if you've got any time on a Friday, you want to come up for a day, please contact me, and then we'll get down in Oldham and we'll do some door knocking and leafleting and chatting with people. If I'm doing the day there on a Friday, I do normally have a pint at one at local pubs and something to eat. If they've got, normally they do a good meal at that Britannia. Do a nice rag pudding meal, actually. But yeah, so please contact me. I can start immediately. If you can only do other days, let me know. Get in contact. I'm sure I can sort something out. But I want to be knocking on doors every week now for a year. Please contact me. So coming up, we've got my weekly stream on a Sunday with Paul Rimmer, who's sort of like officially joined the party now, Paul Rimmer. And I feel honoured, like Paul and Mike Lane. I've met them, talked with these guys many times, and the nationalists, and I'm obviously going to learn a lot of Paul and Mike, and develop more myself to be my counsellor and all that. But yeah, so I do a weekly stream with Paul on a Sunday, and he'll start off with a prayer. And I'm not jumping on any bandwagon or anything like that. People know how I am with religion. I don't have a high tolerance for any religion, really, a big tolerance. I'm not a practicing Christian, but I've been christened, and a lot of my upbringing was revolved around the church. We did Sunday school. I was in the Boys Brigade for a few years. A lot of our other family are religious, so I'm not that ignorant that I can't go and sing a hymn at church. I've took the kids, a lot of the kids when they've been younger, I've took them to nativity things and to get involved in stuff like that at the church. You know what I mean? So, but I'm not a practicing Christian, but I have read the Bible over my lifetime. We did a lot at school. We had to read it. Sunday school, we learned it. We had to read it. The Boys Brigade was linked to a church, so we're always talking hymns, and there was prayers and things like that. So I've been brought up, and I believe that how I've been brought up has made me who I am today, and it's Church of England and Christian values that I've had. So I'm not jumping on any bandwagon. I've been honest from the beginning. But again, I don't have a high tolerance of religion, but and I have been critical of religious people. I have been critical. And if people know that a couple of my best friends, Bobby and Joseph Blur, were abused by a Catholic-run home, not just them, hundreds, if not thousands of children, and nobody did nothing, and people knew this was going on. No accountability again. But I do believe that people of faith, and I have faith that we can do the right thing, and I believe in Christian values and stuff like that, which is I'm not for same-sex marriage. It's a law at the moment, but if NHPUK was in, then it wouldn't be law. Simple as. But I wouldn't class these people as second class. I just treat them the same as I would treat everyone else. But I don't believe in same-sex marriage. The trans thing is all weird and all that. And how can a man be a woman? I don't believe in any of that neither. But it's not because I hate these people. It's because I got brought up a Christian. Lord have mercy. And before anyone says anything to me, if I ever get to any position in a council or an MP or whatever, and anyone says to me about trans things and call me transphobe, all I'm going to say is, well, what about the Muslims? That's all I'm going to say, because nobody says anything about them. They only say it about white people. I don't get how people think that's all right. Honestly, I really don't get how you think it's all right that you can call a white person an homophobe, but you won't call a Muslim person that. And unfortunately, it's Muslims who have protested more and said there could be riots again if you don't take sex education out of school. Not white people, not black people, Muslims. That's what's happened. And no one says that. And you know how I know that? If you look at the Hope Not Hate report that I did, I've mentioned it in that. They didn't say one thing about it. They just blamed white people for being transphobic or whatever, but never said anything about the Muslims. Never. And, there is a video recorded, Northwest Tonight, and the prominent Muslim activist, Ashraf Nimraf, whatever his name is, saying there could be riots again if you don't take sex education out of school. How can I live in a country that like that happens? It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Andrew, yes, sir. Nobby Noble, yeah, honestly, yeah, they did. Destroy English children and destroy our families. That's the worst thing that I see is the destruction of our families. And look at the Star Robson case. I pointed this out on Sensam's channel. The Star Robson case. One of the traits of being LGBT and trans and all that is me. And the lesbian girlfriend of Star Robson's mother killed her because she probably didn't want her getting all the mother's attention and all that, because these people at me. And you see what they're like when they're attacking people at protests, and they're attacking Christians who don't want to kill anyone, who just don't agree with it, and they attack them. They physically attack them and get away with it. Oh, you know, honestly. Yes, Antonella. Hope you're all right. Carpet campers. Thank you, sir. Thank you. But yeah, I see Anne-Marie Waters did something. Now let's see if I can just get it up. Actually, I can't believe I'm annoyed because she never mentioned my party. That's what I'm annoyed for. And I'm not here to put me in the thingy. And we had two candidates. One is running as an independent, and me. And he was against 10 people, and he didn't come last. I think he was. Can't remember how many he was. And I was in 6th, and I come 3rd place and got 10% at share at votes. She's done a video about all the so-called political correct word parties. National Front get mentioned, BNP, Reform Party, I think British Democrats, and For Britain, and a few others, but she never mentioned mine. And if you want to look at it on the books, 2 people run out of my party, which is me and Pat. So we should have at least been like, and the NF only had 2 people running. So, but I had 2 people running, but anyway, but yeah, another thing is, and I've pointed this out for a few years as well, in the elections, even pre-referendum, was the percentage of people voting for independents and other political parties besides Labour, Conservative, Lib Dems and Greens has hugely risen. People getting involved in running as councillors has hugely risen. You won't see this on the mainstream news. I did a video and showed percentages and told you how many thousand more people have voted differently and stuff like that. But the mainstream media just keep talking about the top ones. They won't talk about them bottom ones because they won't talk about them, because they know that it's the independents and the hyper-local political parties that are going to change the politics in the country. So they try and putting us down. I believe that Reform, I believe that UKIP, believe that any of the mediocre parties, they've been formed to break the proper nationalist parties up. And how do I know this? Because it happened with the BNP. I wasn't active then, but you can check the records. They had MEPs and they had councillors, over 100 councillors and X amount of MEPs. And then straight after that, the government or UKIP came out and they started making these other parties that people would vote for. You know what I mean? Because like they were blasting the BNP as racist or whatever kind of names, even though I can tell you that BNP had never got charged with any kind of offence like that. Individuals might have done, but the BNP never. And so they wanted to demote me. So it already happened. It already happened where a local non-mainstream party absolutely wiped the floor with the country. And then around 2000 it were over 100 local council seats and so many MEPs. And then they brought UKIP out, and they keep on bringing these reform parties. These are no good. These are no good parties. They're still politically correct, and they've been made to break all the proper nationalists up, so that we don't get any kind of power or anything like that. They have, and I don't take no prisoners. I won't take any prisoners. I'll give it the Conservatives. I'll give it the Labour Party, and I will give it independents and independents parties. As if you're going to be politically correct, you're going to get it off me big time. And so just watch out, because there's a new style of politics coming, and it's from a working class lad. I've got my own party, and I'm honest and just speak how it is. So just watch out. You think you're politicians. You're on the last road now. You're going out now. We're going to change politics, and it will change. It will change. Long as people vote and people stand up. So coming up, we're going to be doing an in-depth video with Pat McGinnis about his campaign, and we'll be going through Pat's leaflet that caused quite a bit of it was quite not controversial. It caused a stir in his area and in London. And in London, it got mentioned in little local newspaper clippings, and it got a stir. The only people to say anything, I think, online and stuff like that, were just saying about some grammatical errors, but they're insignificant, really. And I've had a couple of texts because my number's on the leaflet, but nobody, they said nasty things about the leaflet, but they didn't tell me what they didn't say what they had issues with. They didn't say what they had issues with. And I texted a couple of them back, well, so, like you've mentioned grammatical errors. What about anything else? Can you tell me what issues you've got with any of the points raised? People couldn't even answer them kind of questions. So when that happens, I've won. We've won when that happens. And then people must feel just about that big. You know what I mean? And I get that all the time. I get that all the time. I get that all the time. But I'm not hyper clever. Didn't have a university education. I'm just a working class lad with a mediocre secondary school education who wants to get involved in local politics because everyone's forgetting us around the country. So yeah, we'll do that with Pat coming up on Sunday. Paul's going to start off with a bit of a prayer, and then I'm going to go on to something local in Oldham. Told you about the big main church in Oldham. This year, we're going to go through a bit about the history, some history in Oldham. We're going to talk about suffragettes and Annie Kenny, who was a suffragette from the West Ridings. She wasn't actually from Oldham. She was born in the West Ridings, and at that time was part of Yorkshire. But it is now, since after she's gone, part of Manchester. It used to be part of Yorkshire, and that's where she was born. But they claim that like she's from Oldham. She might have done stuff from Oldham, but she weren't born in Oldham. So yeah, that'll be on Sunday. We'll have an hour, get a few things bouncing between me and Paul, and that's it. And then obviously I've got Pat's stream coming up, and we'll talk about Pat's campaign and leaflet. He did it all, most of it himself, and he's still going around knocking and stuff like that. So, and we'll talk about that. What we're on 51. I'll look through the chat. No, but yeah, but I want a United Kingdom. I want a United Kingdom. I know you don't like British, but it's up to me to change all that. Or we can just leave them. You know what I mean? And I think getting involved in local politics at the beginning, changing people's way they think and they react to things and making them more honest. And, I'm going to be calling stuff out, right? I'm not no person who won't say anything. There's, the evidence is out there. I've talked to the mayor of Manchester, Greater Manchester. I've give the police loads of grief in the mayor's question time. I named 2 serving police officers who committed assault on Sharon Binks. And then I said, in the other breath, I said, all coppers might as well be sex offenders considering what happened with Sir Everard and a host of other police across the country. So, and one of the things that I'm going to be talking to the police, this is one of the things I'm going to say to them next time I'm with the police. I'm going to say, this is how I'm going to start off. I'm going to start off with, the police, vetting. I mentioned vetting to Oldham Chief of Police and Deputy Chief of Manchester Police, and said about vetting. So the next time I meet the police, I'm going to say, excuse me, so this diversity push where you have to get more ethnic minority people in the police, what I'm going to say is that I just want a policeman who's good at his job. I don't care what colour he is, but if you're hiring someone because of the colour of the skin, then that's not right. We're not getting the right people for the job. You know what I mean? We're not getting the right people for the job. I'm not saying black people can't be policemen. I'm not saying that. But when you get your doctor, you want a good doctor. You don't want a doctor who's just been put in position because of the colour of his skin. I don't want that. I don't want that. And I'm not being nasty. I'm not sticking up for anyone in particular. My doctor's African. I won't change him for a million. I won't change him for anything. And he's African with an African accent. But I won't change him. He's been our doctor for 30 years. God damn, he's diagnosed all my mum's things and gives me, deals with me when I've got me aches and pains and all that. Nothing wrong with that. And I won't change him. You know what I mean? I won't put anyone in his position because of different colour of skin or anything. I just won't do it. But, so it's up to us to start at the bottom to challenge these things. I might say that to the police, but no one can class me as being politically correct word because I want someone who does the job. I want the best person for the job. And already the police are under fire for not doing the job properly. So it's up to us to start at the bottom to change anything. If I was Prime Minister, if I was Prime Minister in 10 years, does that mean all that British shit you go on about will still carry on? Not with me, Prime Minister. I'll change things. I'll start the UK will govern itself, the United Kingdom. We won't have any interference off any other foreign country or any other global things. We'll govern ourselves. I'm going to start buying stuff from Africa, so that we don't give them money in aid because the way it is, right, the lefties, the anti-capitalists don't want us to make Africa like China. They don't want that. I'm all right with doing that if that earns the Africans a crust. So if we can get our oranges cheaper from Africa, I'll buy them from there, which will give them money so they can produce, which will get people working, which will earn them more money. I'll buy my stuff from Africa rather than sticking in that EU. Look, sticking in that EU has caused loads of problems for Germany because they might not have no power tomorrow because of Ukraine and Russia because they get all the power from there. You know what I mean? And that's through being a lot of EU countries are affected with all the stuff going on because, it was in the EU, we get our grain, which is all processed and made in Europe and all that. So we make the money and we have to pay £1 an orange rather than going to Africa and getting them 25 pence an orange. You know what I mean? So, Honestly, so it's up to us to change things. It might take 30 years, but I'm going to change it. If I ever get any kind of, but I'm going to be running in councils and politicians. I'll probably run in a by-election event. Not right now, but if a by-election comes in like 6-7 years and I'm firmly rooted in the council in Oldham, I'm running in that by-election, me. I'm definitely running that by-election. I might end up being an MP. I could be even Prime Minister. Nobody knows. You can say that, but anyone who isn't getting involved in politics really can't say anything to me. If you're not running as a councillor, you cannot say to me that I will never be whatever, because I've made the first step. I'll tell this everyone, I've made the first step. The first step is getting off your arse and voting. The second step is running as a councillor. I'm on this road. I'm on this road. You never know. Nationalism could really take off, and I could be a leading figure in 10, 15 years in the country. Don't know. But I'm making that first step. And anyone who says anything against me, if you don't vote or run as a councillor, then you haven't really got anything to say, have you? But yeah, I understand what you're saying. I get what Graham Moore's saying, but it's up to us to change things. You know what I mean? And we will change things if we stick together. Right, coming up to me hour. So hopefully in the next few months, we're going to be doing our first meeting, general meeting, and it'll be in Manchester. So if you want to get involved or you want to come to the meeting, hear a bit more off me and Pat and any other speakers that we're going to have up, please get in contact with us. Don't worry, it's not going to. I don't think we'll have Hope Not Hate tracking us down or anything like that. I really don't. And again, I know Oldham. I know there's places where we can have these meetings and no one's going to be able to shut them down. But anyway, that'll be coming up. Again, on a weekly basis, mainly on a Fridays. If you want to get involved, come up, do some door knocking with me, hear me talking. And if you haven't talked to people at the door before, I can show you how to talk to people at the door. It's easy. We can have points written down on a sheet and you can talk about these points. And everyone knows, if we talk about child sexual exploitation, you all know what's going on with the rape gangs. If we talk about why we have to pay so much council tax because the council don't have any money because people are on benefits and ripping us off and all stuff like that. COVID, the restrictions we've been through. There's a lot of talk about that. The CAS tax as well, the motor tax. A lot of you will know these things. So get involved. And I want people helping me from next Friday, not tomorrow, but next Friday. I want people to contact me and come and meet me and come help me knocking. I've got a year-long campaign, and I think I'll do well. But it just means getting out there, knocking, showing my face around. It will, Mark Williams. Honestly, it will. You have to start off with small steps. And since I've been to Mayor's Question Time and the police and the council leader has these kind of things, I'm going to go to these things all the time, me. And I'm going to say what I think. At the last Mayor's Question Time, I brought up that Sir Hussein, it's all videoed and all that, and said the Muslim guy told me with honor violence, and I've got it on video. That's what I said, and it's true. That's what I got told. And so I'm not lying. That's what he said to me, it's on video. And I said that to the mayor and the chief of police, the chief of Manchester Police, Watson. We also talked with Deputy Chief Terry Woods about a crime in Bury where a teenager, 16-year-old teenager, was stabbed by teenagers to death. And we'd already had a murder in Bolton, Reece Tansey, who got lured out of his house by two teenagers and stabbed to death. So this happened in Bury. And while I was at the Mayor's Question Time, Rita, Mank, Dave, Bernie were all there. They all heard it. And there was a woman there, blonde-haired woman, who was a commander at Bury, and straight away she come out with, well, what we did stop and searches on teenagers, just teenagers. And after that murder, when they did the stop and searches, they found kids with blades and weapons on them. After that murder, they found other 16-year-olds and teenagers with weapons on them. in Bury. So they did a big campaign of stop and search, especially in the town centre where the murder happened. And after the murder happened, still got weapons and stuff off kids in the town centre. So, and, you know, I was glad they did that. And they made a statement. She said they made a statement to like the teenagers and the children that they're not gonna accept this. They're going to arrest people. There will be convictions. That's what they said to us at the Mayor's Question Time, live at the Mayor's Question Time. Now, I don't know if anyone else in the chat has been chatting to the police and asked them difficult questions. I will, me. That's why we're the NHPUK. That's why I'm straightforward and tell you how it is and stuff like that. So, thank you very much. I've had an hour. I am actually hungry. I've been out today, like I said, with my mum. Took my mum down to Billy's at PAG UK and had an hour and a half with him, brew, and a good chat with him. Drop off at Wetherspoons for a coffee. Me and my mum, then home on tram. So I've had a pretty long day. And if anyone's been Rochdale, you know how steep the wheat sheaf is going up to PAG UK's office. And I was pushing my mum up there and I was sweating. But thank you very much. Tune in Tuesday, 2 p.m. with Paul Rimmer. And up and coming, we're going to have Pat's video about his campaign and his leaflet, which was controversial to the lefties and all that, but not controversial to the people who he talked to. Well, some of the people he talked to, not all of them. But yeah, we're coming up on that. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much. And thanks for tuning in. Let me just put my email up. Where's my email? PayPal's there and my bank details. And I'm asking for money every stream. Got leaflets to order, banners to order, flyers to order, all sorts of stuff. So please put some money in. Don't do the super chat on YouTube because they're difficult. It takes ages to get any money, and I should have it off actually. PayPal me, I'll put it in my bank account. But yeah, we're looking for donations, whatever you can. As soon as we get donations, we're going to be doing flyers, paying for flyers, banners, and stuff like that. We still need help on website. We're going to be looking at that tomorrow, and other stuff. But thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much. Good night. It's Big John, NHPUK TV, live on a Thursday. Chat, news and more. And, you know, I've been through a couple of things I really disagree with tonight, but it's just my thoughts. You know, people might disagree. I know people will have issues with capital punishment. But, you know, we have to talk about these things. Now, you know, I'm not up for if the...
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. You're all right. Take care. See you. Bye.
If everybody wanted to bring capital punishment back, you know, and they voted on it at a referendum, fair enough, but I would be a person who didn't vote to bring it back. But, you know, I'm democratic. I'm not going to cancel you if you have different views, unless they're really violent views. But, you know, no one's like that I know. Wait, before we go, what's the other thing now? So they've come out officially now that they've been focusing on right-wing terrorism when there is none, and they've not been focusing on Islamic terrorism. That's what's in the news right now, and everyone knows that. So they've been saying it's fastest growing. It's not the fastest growing threat. And while all this stuff they say about politically correct word right-wing extremism, yeah, we've just been blown up, run over, stabbed to death, beaten to death, raped all our kids, and no one says nothing. No one says how. You just couldn't make it up. But remember, so that's what they come out with now. They've officially said that it's wrong. They shouldn't be focusing on right-wing terrorism. They should be focusing on Islamic terrorism. But everyone's been saying that for years. But it's a good sign. It's a good sign that they're admitting to it now. And I don't have any faith in any of that extremism thing, because I know people who have been on that list just for having a flyer in the pocket. I know people who've been on that list when they've been attacked, physically attacked. They've ended up going on that list. And that's wrong. Is that wrong? But it doesn't happen the other way around. It just happens to white people, unfortunately. Honestly, it does, where they shouldn't be done for extremism, but they do. And, stuff like that. I don't think there'd be much said about the Muslim guy with his flyer wanting jihad or whatever. You won't hardly hear about that. I'm not even going to stop yet, because let me just... I'm not going to stop because there is something else I want to quickly mention. Can't remember where it were. Let me just check. Oh, here it is. FGM fears as Birmingham police raid unregistered school with bed and medical gear. So they raided illegal school, unregistered school, talked about these 100 million times, done loads of videos on this. And in the bottom of it, they found a bed with medical gear where they chop girls' privates off. That's in Birmingham. I just don't get it, me. I really don't get it. Why this is allowed to go this far. And what you'll find out is these unregistered schools a lot. Don't think that it's just their money that goes to these schools. They'll get money off the local council, and it's an unregistered school. Honestly, they'll get money off the local council or something. So your taxpayers' money is funding this registered school to have a chop room downstairs for chopping up little girls. And your tax money is paying for that. Honestly, like faith schools, every single faith school shut down. We'll accept Christian faith schools if we ever get into contact. I don't want any culture or other religion faith school in the United Kingdom, whether they're Jewish, Islamic, or whatever, or voodoo, whatever. I don't want them in our country. And they get away with this too much. It's not just the chop shop. Remember, in Birmingham a couple of years ago, books were found promoting the beating of women in a school. And I think that was a registered school as well, not unregistered school. The kids in these schools aren't even learning English properly. The Jewish schools have come out hardly talking English, and it's the same in the Islamic unregistered faith schools. They come out with rubbish social skills. And you see that in like third generation Muslims in the UK from areas like Oldham, and they can't even speak English, so that will obviously go to stopping them getting jobs and stuff like that. You just couldn't believe it. So in 2017, with Tom English, we went down and we faced off against 50,000 protesters in Manchester at the Tory conference 2017. I'd only met Tom the week before. And on the way around, we met a guy and he said, And I was going on about my figure I give them was 150,000 girls been chopped up in 10 years. That's what I said. And there's loads of evidence of this. I've seen the evidence. And the lefty guy said, yeah, but most of them were done outside of the country. Yeah, they are, mate. But the ones that aren't still comes to thousands chopped up here. And then they find a room in a school with a chop shop down underneath it. You just couldn't make it up, honestly. So you know, the political correctness it's a nasty root that's well entwined in British life. If no mainstream anybody will say anything about this, GB News a little bit, but even they're still politically correct. They won't go far enough. I'll tell you what it's like. And no one can say anything to me because I'm not making things up. All the evidence is there. We know there's been just 2 convictions to do with FGM, and that's in the last 5 years. At Leeds Crown Court, it were either a week before or a week after I was there. 2 convictions at parents when they know that there is thousands of cases happened in the UK and the United Kingdom. It's just, I just don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say about it. It's just shocking. And, you know, unregistered school, honestly, you know, if I get any kind of power, I'm shutting them all down, man. They're getting all shut down. They're all getting shut down. I'm sick. And, you know, this is something that I reported on even pre-referendum. I talked about these schools. I weren't picking on anyone particular, but I said the same things then. How that they're not going to get any kind of social skill. They'll still have an anti-British or anti-English stance when they come out of these schools, and they're not integrating. But you know what? Who am I? Just John Lawrence from Oldham, leader of the National Housing Party UK, who cares that little girls are getting chopped up. You know what I mean? And I just don't get it, me. You just wait until there's a you know, like a mixed race family, Muslim and white, and then they'll get married. She might turn Muslim, and her daughters are going to get chopped up. You know what I mean? And I just can't fathom it, me. How politically correct and everything this country is, that they allow that to happen when there's been loads of stuff about these unregistered schools, loads mentioned about it. Also, there was a teacher done for molesting kids as well. And, you know, the thing is this, I'm just find. There was another case that I remember where a guy had done this, then he got another job like that. You know what I mean? And it's just like people just ignoring the fact that he's abused kids, but, you know, we better not say nothing. You know what I mean? Honestly, it infuriates me. But anyway, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going now. I'm starving. I want to make something to eat. I'll be on Sunday, 2 p.m. with my main man, Paul Rimmer. And next week, Thursday, I'll be on again. I'll be setting a stream up soon as I've done this. And again, every Friday, every weekend, well, certainly every Friday, get in contact with me. Come up to Oldham and London Day, help me out, and get me. Well, I'm sure that if I do a full year-long campaign I'll be getting in next year. And it's just to start that. I'll continue to go to the mayor's question time, the police. You know, next year, I could be a local councillor going, talking to the police about issues live on telly in front of the mayor of Manchester. And that's more clout than I've got now. You know what I mean? So that could be next year. So watch out for it. NHPUK TV, my name's John Lawrence. Thank you and good night.